welcome. It seems like it's only been that longer since we were here. But I want to welcome everybody here. I want to definitely announce some special guests that we have here this evening. Mr. Droinch, School Board Representative, is here. Ms. Jessie is here from Automotive District. Also want to announce Dr. Waltz is here, School Board Superintendent. I want to say something first, a couple things about Dr. Waltz before I continue on with a couple other special people here. Is that it took me a long time. The first time Dr. Waltz and I actually met, Carolyn Custard introduced us officially, and I pretty much did everything outside of berating him into getting here. And finally, it took me about 2 years. He came in, and now I can't get rid of him. He came in this past year. He came in 2 days in a row. Because he didn't get enough pictures the first day for his Twitter. So he had to come in and take more pictures. But we're definitely glad that you're here, and hopefully you enjoy the event. Also, I want to say that, Dr. Waltz, I understand that recently you referred to me as a saint to someone, and my girlfriend is sitting right there, and she's a Catholic, and I think she would argue with you. Saint Neil, yeah, well, some of this word. Yes, okay, there you go. But she said in order for me to be a saint, I have to perform 3 miracles, and I've got to figure out what those are going to be. Also, I think, I know that some of the administrators that are here are kind of back and forth in and out, because we've got 3 different events going on. Mr. Cassidy, he's probably on the other event right now. I know he's going to be coming back and forth. Sal Colangelo, my administrator, is there. Tony Switzer. I think he's probably at the other event as well, and I want to publicly thank him, even though he's not here, for helping me get things set up and moving on. He's definitely a great administrator here. And then past administrator and retired, Mrs. Brenda Burke. So our theme, our theme is seconds. And a lot of our students already know where I'm heading with this. Without these guys and these sponsors, we can't do what we do. So the first thing I'd like to do is get up my 2018 engine building team. Would you guys come up here for just a quick second, please? The young people standing in front of you represent the 2018 team for engine building. This team in front of you finished 3rd at the SEMA event. When we went to our double national in Indianapolis, we were on track, and there's a couple of judges here. I guess you as a judge now for hot rodders. We were on track for a top 5 finish in the country, no question. But sometimes when it's not your day, it's not your day. And they did well up to the first 2 runs, and then the 3rd day things just did not go well. But to their credit, they pushed through and they persevered and they finished it. Okay. So we finished 8th in the country, so 8th place out of 43. And the other thing with the sponsors that are here, a lot of you got text messages and pictures from me where these guys were walking around out in Las Vegas with the shirts on and Indianapolis with the shirts on. So everywhere we go, these shirts are worn, and it represents all the sponsors that support us. They pay to be on these shirts, and that's how we travel. That's how we get to go to all these different events across the country. If it weren't for these guys that we're about to recognize, we wouldn't be able to do the things that we do. So first one I want to bring up is Route 1 GMC. Representative from that is Aaron Kearns, who also is one of my past graduates. So come on up, please, sir. Grab some pictures. So anyway, again, these guys, Aaron's been a technician for a very long time. Again, won some competitions for us. And we appreciate Route 1 GMC's sponsorship. Brown's Hyundai. Is Mr. Cavendish here? Well, since you work for him, would you like to take it to him? Or he may show up later. Okay. Then, Braxton actually works at Brown's Hyundai in Manassas, so he will take that for me. So I'm going to let you hold on that for just a second, please. Those are our bronze sponsors. I want to bring up our silver sponsor now, Miller Toyota. Mr. Crook is here. If you would please come up, sir. Toyota, like many of these, have been sponsors of ours since we started doing this. I think we're on our 4th year now. Thanks. And they've continued to support us, and thanks very much. And they're the only one that's ever been on the front of the shirt. So anyway, we hope that hopefully that continues. We definitely appreciate Automotive and what you guys are doing for us. This is our gold sponsor. They're out of Maryland, actually, and this is the second year for them. Josh is actually one of my students, military electronics specialist, opened his own business for a while out in Maryland, and then started working for Sour Compressors, working his way up through the ranks to where now he's like pretty much second in command, right? Yeah. Your boss to support us. All right, now for our platinum sponsor. Been our platinum sponsor now for 3 years. Is Lusting Motorsports. I know we've got some people here for that. Nino didn't come tonight, huh?
No, not tonight.
Okay. All right, so so for being our platinum sponsor, we definitely appreciate what you guys have done, and I hope that continues as well. All of these guys have done, not just Lusting, but all of these sponsors have done other things above and beyond for us, not just the sponsorships each year for the shirts, but sometimes we'll call these people up and ask them for things that we need or require, and they'll definitely step up to the plate and help us out. So what I want to add to this is, I said this last year, and I was very happy to be able to say this, so I'm just as happy again this year to be able to announce that this past school year, even though we still have actually another competition coming up in 2 weeks. But this school year, no student has had to pay a penny to go to any competitions, no registrations, hotel fees, nothing. Wow. We've been able to support it all. And I know that's a tough thing. As a parent of kids that go on trips, you know, they're making, sometimes you have to make payments to go on these trips and all, but if it weren't for these sponsors that were just up here, we wouldn't be able to pull this off. And also a lot of it has to do with the Spark organization, who now has a new leader. And I just told her before I came up here to make sure she doesn't change a thing. And I wasn't talking about her, I was talking about our relationship. But you don't have to change either. The team on my left is what we call our first team. No discrimination. It's just this is the team that is a little more advanced than the other team. They have already qualified for the national event. This team here has not qualified yet, but they are going to be going, as far as we know so far, to Norwalk, Ohio in 2 weeks. And that'll be their last opportunity to qualify, and they've been working real hard, and hopefully they'll get qualified so that both of these teams can go to nationals, so that instead of 5 shirts running around the national events, we'll have 10, well 11 counting mine. So anyway, thank you guys for all your hard work, and these are your 2 current 2019 engine teams. Mrs. Bird hired me 24 years ago, regretfully. For her, not for me. At least she tried to fire me twice, too. Allegedly. Miss Bird and I have had a love-hate relationship for a very long time. Haven't we? More love than hate. I was a bit, I'm better. I'm better now.
Actually, the only thing that's changed is the color of your pony.
Yeah, it used to be all dark. Oh, so, okay, so you still call me bad things. All right. Anyway, the first year I was here, ask me, what, you don't think that's true?
No, I do. I say you're a piece of work.
A saint! You called me a saint!
It was a weak motion.
Yep, sure, I'm glad you made it, Dr. Lowell. Anyway, my first year here, in the interview process, they would give me scenarios, and I said, look, I got tired of the scenarios, and you may not remember this part, but I said, look, I know what kind of jerk I was in high school, and I know what it would have taken to bring me under control. I said, and that's who I'm going to be. And they hired me. Because you thought you could control me. Anyway, that first year I was here, Brenda came down to me a couple months before graduation, and she said to me, she just walked in the room, and she said the name Brian Stanley. And I said, what about him? And she goes, how's he doing? because, you know, we need to make sure, we're trying to get him to graduate, and I'm just checking with all his teachers to see how he's doing. And I said, well, you passed with me, he's got like B's and C's. And she goes, oh, okay, well, that's good. Okay, I need to go talk to his other teachers. So when Brian was here, he was, I don't know, from an administrative standpoint, he was always fine with me. He did everything I asked him to do, and he was fine. I don't recall ever having issues with Brian. But maybe from an administrative standpoint, he was a handful. I don't know, but so was I, so there we go. 2 P's and a 5. So anyway, Brian graduated, Brian left, and I never heard the name again for 24 years. My students every year, some of you know, they go out to banquets, and they go out to represent the banquet and pass out invitations, get business cards and whatnot. And one of the students, Audi, I believe it was, went to a Midas store off Route 1. And he brought back the card with the guy's name on it. I didn't recognize it, no big deal. So and then that was it. The next day, or no, I'm sorry, it was that morning, about 8:30, I think, I get a phone call. We talked for a little bit. And I go, how you been doing? So he tells me everything's fine, whatever. He said, I happened to walk into a Midas, and he didn't announce it other than that. And he said, there's a paper on the table there, the banquet flyer. And I saw his hills, man, I went there. And he saw my name at the bottom. He said, oh my God, I got to call him. So he called me. And then we were talking. And he said that he saw it, you know, on the Midas, on the counter or wherever he saw it. And I go, well, that's fantastic, man. I thought this was just some kind of conversation. Well, then he proceeds to tell me that he owns that Midas. Not only does he own that Midas, he owns 4 Midases. Okay? Now, what I will tell you is that for a lot of the students that are here, I will take a little bit of credit for where they ended up. Positive, anyway. But I honestly can't take any credit for where Brian ended up. I don't think I can anyway. But I do want to bring him up because I don't think you, well, other than you just saw him a little bit, but for any problems you may have had with him, are you crying? He has turned into a wonderful member of our society and our community. And Brian, would you please come up and give this woman a hug?
When Ed came into our lives here at Hylton, I had been here maybe 4 or 5 years. He was in charge of maybe 3 auto department, and we had some rough times. We had lost, I think, 3 or 4 teachers. Within 3 years, I think we lost 4, and I brought Eddie in, and he saved us. Yes, he's right. There were a couple of times where I wanted to kick him out the door, take his keys. Regretted hiring him because he was a handful, but you know what? He was right for the kids. And he just, I'm so proud of him. And what you've done with the kids here, all the kids that keep coming back, and the success that they've had because of you. Brian, thank you. And I love all of you. I love Hylton High School, and I really appreciate you having me tonight. Thank you.
This represents a wide array of students that past graduates that continue to come back. And not just continue to come back for support of what we do here, but support of the students that are currently in the program right now. So I definitely thank these guys for coming out. I'm very proud of every one of you. And the last thing I want to say about these guys up here, we wouldn't be where we are today. We wouldn't have all the accolades and the people ringing my phone and sending me emails if it weren't for these guys behind me that started it all. Okay, that did the bare bones, struggling and trying to get by and do the best we could with what we had to where we are now. So I thank every one of these guys and the levels that they were at, so continue moving forward and doing bigger and better and greater things. And the students that are current students now, and the students that are in here that haven't even met yet, that are going to eventually come into my program in the next year or two, you need to thank these guys for something that you don't even know how wonderful it is yet. Thank you guys. We are an AST program. Okay, stands for Automotive Service Technology. We're I think one of only 6 in the state of Virginia, which means that we teach all 8 areas of automotive technology. MLR programs, which most of the state is, they do not. They only teach certain levels of it, or certain areas of it. My students take the AST test twice a year, thanks to Mr. Wright. Doug Wright is the CT coordinator for the county. So he does a lot of good stuff for us. And Doug's a big supporter of what we do, and I thank and appreciate him for coming out. But part of one of the things he does is Doug pays for the testing for the students. For the ASCs, and these are student ASCs, and again, the students take them twice a year, and we were 1 student short of 100%. Again, to remind you, these guys took a test that covers all 8 areas of AC, HVAC, automatic transmissions, and the majority of these students have passed. Some of the students that you're going to see up here are also Auto 2 students, and they take the test as well, and even though they're not armed with enough information to pass them, I think 4 of the Auto 2s did pass it this year already. All right, but I'm going to give my Student of the Year for the Auto 1 class to Edmar Elomina. All right, for Auto 2 Student of the Year, to Dylan Stockslager. For the Auto 3 Student of the Year, Jose Kudas. Joseph. Snap on. That's given you a gift. And Mr. Kundle, Mr. Kundle there is here, and he has given you. Make sure you thank that gentleman back there. All right, that's for you. Thank you. Thank you. Walking into the locker room for the last time this morning to get dressed out, going back in to get changed out, opening the lockers and emptying them, it gets more real to them that this is it. It's over for us. But this one, I'm giving an award called the Most Missed Award to Amanda Neff.
Oh, great.
You're killing me. But we are starting officially this year with our own graduation course. So officially this year for graduation year 2019, our automotive graduates for CTE will be wearing black and silver cords. This is tomorrow's Technician magazine. This is a magazine that goes out to secondary and post-secondary programs. Like this guy, for example, in the front, the 2019 Instructor of the Year. That doesn't look like me at all. But if I open up to page 14 and 15, there's a picture of one of my students in here. Oh, man, look how quiet I got. Like, man, is it me? Present student. Auto 3. Now we're narrowing it down. I'll just get up here and show it. Anyway, everybody's messing up everything tonight. That's a horrible picture. That is. Yeah, the whole country's going to see that. So there's like stuff in here for you. Okay? I'm going to let him see it first. Framed article. Our SEMA Jeep. My students were in a competition in Tennessee, and I had some time to kill. I was going through my emails, and someone from SEMA sent me an application to fill out. And so it was about doing the special build. When we were doing the phone interview, Katie Hurst, who is in charge of the SEMA builds for us in the 5 schools, she told me, she made it very clear to me that this is not a competition. I said, you're talking to the wrong person. Because all we do is compete. And that's what we try to be the best at everything we do. So So I said, okay, well in my mind, I told the kids, I said, okay, if there's not a competition, they're not going to judge these things, then what we're going to do is, when they auction them off, whichever one makes the most money, that's the winner. So this is the Jeep in the shop itself. If you've been following along with the YouTube bulldog builds, as Dr. Waltz has suggested you do, then you've seen a lot of this footage from these pictures. We were only supposed to do the bolt-on stuff from the SEMA people, suspension lift kits and wheels and tires and whatnot. But we decided to pull the frame, or pull the body off the frame and do some cleaning and get it to this point. But then it's kind of like the Forrest Gump episode where he's like, well, I ran that far, so I decided to keep going. And I ran that far, so I decided to keep going. So we said, well, we've gone this far, might as well pull the engine. Okay, going this far, might as well pull the axles. So everything was pulled completely apart. The wiring harness, the fuel lines. In this picture here, they're putting the fuel lines and all back on. There's no overspray on this thing at all. So I was talking to Katie on the phone about the steel rubber company out of North Carolina. I said, she said, well, I've already contacted them, but I haven't heard back yet. I said, well, do you mind if I do? And she said, well, no, but I looked these things up online. They're only like $300. We can just buy them. I'm like, you don't understand. This is a game. This is a game to me. And now I need to make sure that we don't pay a penny for anything. And so far we haven't. In fact, Aaron Currents gave us, through Route 1 GMC, the lug nuts. I wasn't even purchasing lug nuts. They gave, I was contacted a couple of days ago by a lady from Michigan who is the editor of an online magazine that doesn't exist yet. It's called Jeep Wave. It's going to begin after Memorial Day. She wants to do a story about us, not just our Jeep, the entire program. So that's going to be coming out. It's a pretty incredible thing. And this thing has, again, opened up doors for us that never would have been opened before. Can't give you any tickets for this next famous person. This is one of the times that Dr. Waltz visited us in the shop. That's my son he's talking to. Just happened to be here, and they were discussing post-secondary education and things, and Dr. Waltz has some good advice for him. So it was good to drop by and talk to the kids. This is Dr. Waltz with the Auto 3 students in front of the engine that we practice with for engine building. And the next picture is Dr. Waltz actually getting involved in helping us repair cars. Okay, so thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate it. Oh! See you there. There's our after party. There's the address. That's where we're headed. So come join us.